Alright, so I'm going to attempt to light this whole video with my window, and the sun is going down, so if the exposure changes, I'm sorry. Hi, my name's Nigel, and back in September, me and my wife went on a trip to Hawaii, and I took with a really minimal kit. I tried to bring as little gear as I possibly could. So in this video, I'm just going to show you what I brought. So to start out, the camera that I brought with me is actually the camera that I'm filming with right now. It's a Panasonic GH3. I love this little camera. I did have an 80D at the time, but the 80D was just too big and the lenses that I had were just too heavy, and I knew that if I brought it, I probably wouldn't have shot anything. So I brought this little GH3. It's weather sealed and it's really cheap, so if it got damaged or stolen or something like that, I wouldn't be too bummed about it, at least not as bummed as I would be if I brought a bunch of really expensive gear. So yeah, the GH3 is great. You can get it for really cheap, and it still takes great photos and really high quality 1080p. So that's the camera that I brought with me. It's really light, and I brought a couple of batteries with as well. Next, let's move on to the lens. I brought with this little DJI 15mm f1.7 lens. I really like this lens. I did a little review about it right up there, but this is a really good lens, and it gives you about a 30mm equivalent field of view. I really like that focal length. I think it's like the perfect focal length to work with, especially when you're like traveling and you just need like a walk around everyday lens. I definitely like that focal length. My favorite stills camera that I ever owned was the Fuji X100S. If you go to my website, a lot of the stills that are in like the stills section of my website are shot with the Fuji X100S. So, and I believe the Fuji X100S, the lens on there gives you like a 35mm field of view. So I really like working with that kind of focal length. So that's why I went with this one, and it's super sharp even at f1.7, and it basically did everything that I needed it to do. So that's the lens that I brought with me. So I knew that I would be shooting some video when I was there. I didn't do any crazy, cool travel film video, but I knew that I was going to want to. So I also brought with this little Zomei variable ND filter. Now I did a review on this one as well. I'll put a little card up there if you want to check that out, but I like this little ND filter. It does soften the image ever so slightly. It's definitely softer than just with the bare lens, but it does the job. It's super cheap, and I knew that I wanted to try to keep my shutter at a 1/50th of a second, so this little variable ND helped me do that. And yeah, I still like it. It's great. Now as far as like holding my camera and toting it around, I actually made my own camera strap. This is just out of a paracord, and then I just sewed two like little eyelets here, and there's just like two like mini carabiners at the end, and these can just clip right on to my GH3's camera strap clips, and it's really simple, it's really easy. I think it looks kind of cool, and I used to have the Peak Design strap, but it's probably an unpopular opinion, but I really don't like the anchors for Peak Design. They look like little earrings that just keep on like, dangling around and making noise in my videos. So I don't like using the Peak Design. I actually just recently sold my Peak Design strap just because I never used it. So I made this one, it cost me like $7, but super simple and super cheap. So like I said, I didn't record any like, crazy videos or whatever when I was there, but I knew that I did want to bring a little mic. So this is my trusty little Comica VM10. I did a video on this one as well, but this is my go-to mic when I'm just like running and gunning and I just want a little mic that I can just plug and play. Don't gotta worry about batteries, the battery dying or whatever. I know that when I plug this into my camera, I'm gonna be getting usable audio. So this is great for just scratch audio, ambience, stuff like that. I really like it. Some of you have been asking about this fur windscreen because this is not the one that comes with the Comica. I actually got this off of one of the fur windscreens that I bought for my Zoom H1. So if you have a Zoom H1 and you have a fur windscreen for it, it will fit on your Comica VM10. So yeah, this is a really great little mic. It's like $50 and it's really light as well. So yeah, love this mic. So last but not least is support for my camera, and like I said, I tried to keep it really compact and minimal for this trip, so I didn't want to have to be lugging around a lot of really heavy gear. And I knew I wanted to bring a tripod, so I brought with this guy. This is the Amazon Basics travel tripod with a ball head on it. What's kind of cool about this tripod is even though it is a ball head and you can't really do tilt with it, you actually can do pans with it because it does have a fluid pan head on here, which is actually pretty cool. So I didn't do any pans, but if I needed to, this ball head could actually get the job done. I mostly use this tripod for like doing like long exposures and like shooting the stars and stuff like that, and just filming myself when I needed to. Yeah, it's super solid, super light, it's carbon fiber. I don't know if this is the cheapest travel tripod there is, but this one definitely does the job, and It's one of the lightest tripods I've owned. So yeah, I like this one. I'll put a link in the description to where you can pick this one up. But yeah, that's the tripod that I used. So yeah, and that's basically it. That's all the gear that I brought with me to Hawaii, and it was super minimal, and it just made me want to actually bring my camera and shoot with it. Like, I knew myself, and I knew that if I brought a bunch of equipment, I would have left it behind and just taken my phone and shot photos and videos on my phone, which would have defeated the whole purpose of bringing a camera in the first place. So I really like keeping things small and light when I'm traveling, especially when I'm on vacation. If I was going somewhere to shoot like a paid gig, I would obviously bring more gear with me, but when I'm just going and shooting stuff for myself, I try to minimize the amount of gear that I bring, and it just makes me actually want to shoot more. So, but yeah, I'd love to hear what you bring when you go on vacation as far as camera gear and mics and stuff like that. Be sure to tell me in the comments down below. You can click over here for some of my other videos, and definitely click down there on the subscribe button if you like my content, and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Anyways, thanks so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you on the next video. Later.